Hey everyone, welcome to Mountain Beast Mysteries. I want to say first off the bat, thank you so much for all the generous comments on my latest expedition video. Really appreciate it. There's going to be a lot more content like that to come. Just this coming weekend I have a trip planned to film some more stuff, so it should be very interesting. I just had some photos sent to me yesterday of potential Sasquatch creatures. Now, in the photos they are really far away, and of course they're blurry, so it's hard to tell what they are. But apparently these photos were taken in Alberta near Edson. So it's not too far away, 3-hour drive for me, not even. But I think it's worth a trip out and, seeing what I can find and maybe spot one of these creatures. The photos were taken on an iPhone, so not the best quality, especially when you zoom in on it. You lose a lot of detail. But so expect more documentary style videos of greater length to be coming out. I want to keep doing that at least once a month, so we'll see how that goes. But today's topic, I wanted to talk about a couple experiences that I've had that could be Sasquatch related. Now, of course, I don't know if they are Sasquatch related, but they align with a lot of reports that I've read. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is actually really interesting because when I was visiting Rob McNeil in Stettler here in Alberta, I told him this story, and he thought it was very interesting because he had an acquaintance who had a similar account in the same area, roughly. So back in 2010, I was in my adventure tourism program for college, and we were doing a cross-country ski expedition. It was about a week long, I would say, in the Lac La Biche area of Alberta, kind of near the Cold Lake weapons testing range, the air weapons testing range. But it was one night we got to our campsite and we were setting all our stuff up, and all of a sudden we would hear these knocks. It'd be 3 knocks, like way far in the distance. You could hear it echo throughout the landscape, and it happened a couple times, and I was already familiar with the Bigfoot thing. So I told the 3 other classmates that were with me, I'm like, this is known to be a Sasquatch thing, like how they communicate with each other over long distances or whatnot. Or that's the theory I had at the time. I didn't really know too much about it, but I tried to explain that to them. And after I said that, I said, let's just wait a couple minutes, and I bet you we'll hear something in the completely opposite direction. So a couple minutes goes by, and sure enough, we hear in the opposite direction, way far in the distance, and then we were all just kind of creeped out. We didn't actually expect anything to happen, but sure enough, it did. It was like they were communicating back and forth. So it happened a couple more times, and that was it for that.
I had some reports come in, and again, these were pretty recent reports, and the first report was from Lakeland Provincial Park by Lac La Biche, and there's a lake there called Canard Lake, and Canard Lake you have to get to by quad, first of all. I've been fishing there before, and this guy reported that they were on Canard, and there's a little bit of a inlet or whatever, and they're fishing, and I think it was pretty early in the morning from what I remember. Again, I'll go over this for you. All of a sudden they saw this thing, and they thought it was a black bear on the inlet, and then it stood up and walked away. And so that first report come in, and then about a month later I get a second report, only this one comes from Pinehurst Lake, which is again another lake in Lakeland Provincial Park. And this one was a fisherman, and I talked to him on the phone and everything. And him and his buddy were fishing. It was late at night, and they were camping on, I believe it was the west side of Pinehurst, where kind of everybody is. That's where the main camping area is. And he said they were over on the east side of the lake, and he said it was late at night, it's just dusk, in the summer or whatever, so probably like 9 o'clock at night kind of thing. and they had anchored not far from shore, and they're kind of fishing this little bay there. And he said all of a sudden this rock, and he said it was like a 50-pound rock, huge rock, comes flying out of the forest and lands right by the boat. And he said they were just kind of like, oh my God, what was that? And I can't remember if a second one came out or not. I'll look into the report for you, but it scared them enough, and they couldn't think of what it would be, although it's in the back of their mind. You know, they're kind of thinking, oh my God, is that a Sasquatch or something, you know, throwing that? And they got the hell out of there. So there's a first report at Kennard, which is there, second report at Pinehurst, and then later into the fall, I get a third report from just across the border, Onion Lake in Saskatchewan there. These things saw one cross in front of, these people saw one cross the road in front of them or whatever. And the way that summer went, it almost was like this thing was moving eastward or something and had been seen a few times, you know, like started at Kennard, then Pinehurst, and then over to Onion Lake, and it was all in that one summer. And it really got me thinking, like, I wonder if that's just one creature that has been seen, you know, 3 different times or whatever, right? But yeah, very interesting that then you say that, because, you know, a lot of people think, oh, it's got to be in the mountains, it's got to be, you know, there's so much bush up there that's just unexplored. And
well, there was also that piece of footage from Manitoba.
Peguis or whatever. Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at northern Alberta. I mean, it's bush. It's bush. I mean, you could hide a herd of dinosaurs.
There's probably a lot less people in northern Saskatchewan than there is in like the Rockies.
Yeah,
well, there is.
Yeah. So I found that really interesting though, when that they all kind of coincided. It was almost like you could follow this thing going eastward. Yeah.
So yeah, kind of a weird coincidence that these two experiences happened. And the funny thing is, they were around the same time as well. So, you know, maybe it was the same creature. If it was a Sasquatch, it could have been the same individual or individuals. We don't really know. It's just an odd coincidence. My next experience is kind of strange. I was partially asleep, or so I think. Either that or I was actually dreaming. I'm not sure. This was in 2014? It was 2014, summer 2014. I was hiking to a place called Hidden Lake, and that is just off of Abraham Lake, kind of in the Nordegg area. It must have been like a 16-kilometer hike in. And we were going to this lake for a couple nights. And we get to the lake. The second night we were there, I awaken, or at least I think I awaken to the sound of footsteps about 20 feet in front of my tent. And you hear a few like heavy footsteps that sound kind of bipedal. And then I just hear a grunt. So it was like, ugh. Like a weird grunt, like, ugh. It was the strangest thing ever. And at this point, my heart is like racing. And I remember I had like a big knife beside my sleeping bag. And I remember like putting my hand on it and grabbing it. And like, I won't forget it. Like, it feels like I wasn't dreaming because I remember it so vividly. But then, like, I must have fell back asleep because I don't remember anything after that. And even like in the morning after, I didn't even remember that it happened until we got home. Like, so I got up, we started packing all our stuff up because we were leaving early in the morning. And like, I didn't even think to look for tracks or anything, so I didn't even remember because I was so out of it when it happened. And that's why I'm like, was it a dream or was it an actual thing? I don't know, it's hard to say. Like, I've talked about both these experiences with Shane Corson and Gunnar Monson on their podcast, Monster X Radio, if you've seen that. But that's, like, I haven't really talked about those much just because they're so, like, it's hard to say what they are, if they're real or not. It's not an actual, like, visual encounter with the creature, so I don't really care too much about those stories. Just because to me, like, it is possible that they were Sasquatch, but it is possible that they could have been, you know, a wide array of other things. So yeah, but take away what you want from these stories. If you've had similar experiences, let me know. Yeah, stay tuned for more Bigfoot videos. I'm going to be going more into depth really soon about the 1962 Bigfoot body that was found after the Columbus Day storm. I've received a lot of information after I posted that first video about it. Like, I've received a bunch of documents, like government documents, and just like 50 different emails of content on that matter. So I've been trying to piece it together with the help of the individuals that are actually involved in the research on that case. So I'm trying to figure out a way to put it together properly, so I can relay it to you accurately without, screwing it up or kind of giving information that's twisted, because throughout time, so many people tell the story that the information kind of gets twisted and you get further and further away from the reality of what happens. So stay tuned for that. I'm very excited to make those videos. It's probably going to be a series of like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 videos. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, thanks for watching this episode of Mountain Beast Mysteries. We'll catch you next time.